Well, you're stuck with the B team today. It's just me and Jesse. The A team, A team's dizzy. We won't be seeing Greg or Aaron today, unfortunately. So you only have our minimal insight into things, but we are the team that argued the case on lotteries. I can't wait to the 80 questions we get on the lottery today, as we do every week. In fact, I just got one. I'm going to say this now. I just got one in a private message. Any word?
Yeah.
Yes. We've been holding the decision of telling anybody.
Yeah. I think people are really.
I'm anxious too. But before we get, let's talk about the 6-1 delay litigation with AILA. We amended the complaint on Friday afternoon. Added some more plaintiffs, and we allowed the government, Jesse. They asked for our consent for an additional 2 weeks to respond to our class certification motion. And we graciously allowed the government to do that because we're not jerks. They might be, but we're not jerks. And so the court has allotted till, I believe it's March 10th or March 6th for the government to respond to the class certification motion in that case. And there's shortly after that, there's a series of documents that are due to the court. The court has very strict procedural guidelines in this court. And I know Jesse loves strict procedural guidelines that have been told us several times. Don't forget about these. So that's kind of where we are. The good news is that over half of our plaintiffs have received change of venue, change of location notices. Some have been changed back, but what that means is, Jess, I'd love to get your opinion. What this means to me is they're trying to find people to adjudicate these cases.
Yeah, I wonder if it's going to be somewhat similar to what we saw in the EB2, EB3 last year with the Indian Nationals cases that were running up against the deadline. But
good news.
It's interesting though. It's interesting because I wish they would actually talk to us instead of doing this, because I'd like to work on a long-term plan rather than this gamesmanship where maybe it's just our named plaintiffs who get. I want the named plaintiffs.
It's great. We want them to get it, but let's fix the problem. We've given you a venue in which you can fix the problem.
Yeah. I've talked to so many people who've come out to me and just privately and expressed kind of frustration, like, oh, I've only been waiting a year.
Yeah, only a year. Only a year.
And I sympathize with them, and we'll see. It's at the same time, there's two things going on. They're working in the background, not telling us anything, and then at the same time preparing what it looks like to fight us on class cert and everything else. And
if Biden wants to fight, we'll fight. We're good at fighting. I don't like fighting at all. So A-okay. So that's the update for our 601A litigation. On the prevailing wage litigation, we're still waiting for plaintiffs. We got a complaint ready to go.
And on these, we're doing them on a rolling basis. So employer, could be one, could be three, could be some nonprofits, some schools, could be anyone who's waiting in this deadlock is what it really is.
And the thing is, because we never understand why the delay is so long, but there doesn't appear to be any legitimate explanation for taking a year to do a job that requires 90 seconds of effort. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know either. And this is one where just because, the attorneys who do these regularly discuss them online, and, it just seems like they're not really following a process, because some people are getting them quickly and some people are getting
There's some from May that have been granted, and others from February that still have not been granted. I just don't.
It's weird.
Which will look good in a federal court. So please sign up and get that done. Mm-hmm. We've also got the current ongoing intake on our 601 waiver application for all those people that are waiting abroad for an interview, and they got denied at the consulate for whatever reason. It could be smuggling. Technically, it could be money issues. Could be fraud issues. There's lots of reasons why you get a bar that you can waive. And again, going from 6 months to a 2-year time frame overnight, no explanation. Jesse, I do have a theory. Do you want to know my theory?
Please.
I'm sure you do. So the Nebraska Service Center is the principal service center for these waivers. They're the lead service center and have been for a long time. It's located in Lincoln, Nebraska. The unemployment rate in Lincoln, Nebraska is like 2%. And any economist will tell you anything below 5% is full employment. And if you're down at 2%, my grandmother would say you're scraping the bottom of the pickle barrel. She is from Germany, and that probably has meaning in Germany somewhere. So what that means is they can't get qualified applicants to work at the service center in these government. Now, these government jobs that do these are not low paid jobs, Jesse. These are, high 5-figure jobs. They're not low.
Let me, so there's, they have these service centers, but we also know they hire a lot of people and let them work remotely.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a counter to your theory or it's.
Well, they got to be trained at some point. I mean, they work remotely, but my understanding is that a lot of them have to work in person first so they can see if they can, do the job and then allow them work remotely. Again, this is part of the vague opacity of the federal government work from home program.
I still think it's sort of amazing though that, because they release their figures because they're asking for more money. Right. So.
And they're required to ask for the figure. I mean, they're required to release them anyway.
But these people, it'd be as if you went to a restaurant and you said, "Here's a seat, sir. Thank you very much. I'll take this dish. Thank you very much." And then 3 hours later, them coming back, and then you paying them, and then them coming back 3 hours later and saying, "You know what? We don't have a cook tonight. Just wait here a little bit longer. Starve to death. We're going to keep your money. And if we find a cook, we'll give you the food that you've already paid for."
That's a great oral argument, Jesse. That's just totally awesome.
But I mean, seriously, but I mean, it's too simplified, and I get it. But for a lot of these people, I mean, it's too simplified, against the government. I mean, the harms to the people, family separation, employment loss, we already talked about all that stuff. But I mean, you've taken the money as if you're going to deliver. So coming back and saying, or saying COVID when everyone is affected by it, and it actually would say, you recognize COVID so much, why don't you recognize it for these families?
Right.
Right. So I have a tough time. I mean,
This is one of those things where the Biden administration could allow for employment authorization for pending waiver applicants. For those 601A cases,
it's crazy to me, right? Because Or Jadot, to her credit, went out there. Maybe she went off script, but this was February of 2022, and she goes out there. She gives an interview and she says processing times are way too long. We just can't take this. They're way too long. And we're here a year later, and it seems like
they're worse. They're worse.
Well, they're worse, but they're worse for the most. I mean, not the rank order applications, but we're really not doing our best. And another thing, because I work with from EB-5 down to the U visas, everything they've tried to do has made the situation worse.
The only process in which, and this maybe this is a secondary explanation, the only visas, the only petitions that they have accelerated processing on, naturalization, family marriage-based adjustment of status, which they're now just doing without interviews. They're just popping those out like candy in 3 or 4 months.
Wow.
And on the I-140s that they did for us last year, they were compelled by litigation, because they wouldn't have met the number without litigation to do this. So I suspect that there were a number of examiners, adjudicators at the Nebraska Service Center who were pulled off the 601 line, the 601A line, said, you have got to adjudicate these I-140 / adjustments. Just everybody hands on deck. we've got a lot of numbers to use. We're going to get sued. We're going to get crucified if we don't do this. So they took it, and that's a management decision. That is a pure management decision.
Totally. I mean,
it's a terrible management decision.
But the thing about it is it's so short-sighted because now you have a visa bulletin where I can't, I'm trying to do this without swearing. That's like my new thing. You have a visa bulletin that is absolutely gone haywire for, and retrogressed for those that you've now, you can't even do the visas that you can't even process the ones that you've done. No. Right. No. So you've put yourself in a situation where the left hand's not talking to the right hand, meaning State Department, others in who work in the immigration system. And, it's just like one bottleneck creates another if you kind of release it down the line, or the hole in the dam analogy, whatever.
But the thing is, this bottleneck, Trump, of course, slowed down processing. But the numbers don't reflect that this is a Trump problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. The numbers say this is a Biden problem. This is a Biden management problem. I know they had to hire people, they had to fix it, but this is bad management.
What it's kind of like? It's kind of like when you hire a new coach, and the coach can blame the last coach in the last administration for a little while, and then you start to lose. Right? You keep losing games, and everyone's like, "Well, you're the coach now. Like, you're the coach.
You had 2 years to get your players on board.
You about
to 2 years to change the scheme. You got 2 years to get a better defense. What do you got?
If you can sneak to Ukraine, we can fix this." Right?
If the president of the U.S. can take a 10-hour train ride from Poland to
we got resources. We got resources.
Figure this out.
We can do it.
We can figure this out. I know. So this is not an untractable problem. Hey, a quick update on EB-5 litigation. We're preparing our motion will be filed this week for discovery with the court, and then it'll be up to the court to determine whether we have to respond to the motion for summary judgment or whether the court will give us discovery in the EB-5 case, which we desperately need because the government literally in their declarations, Jesse, they said things that have no basis in fact that we're aware of.
Yeah, that's amazing.
None. So we need to get that, and that's kind of where we are on that. I also want to talk a little bit about a Sinenchko United for Ukraine recovery case. Jess, do you want to talk a little bit about this, or you want me to do it?
I mean, we can talk about, I don't think we can talk too much about what's going on.
So just know it's pending.
Yeah.
We're working on it, but this is a slow slog. This is not the kind of case we're going to answer right away. This may take a couple of years to work its way through the system, but just know that we're fighting for those. And if you are a Ukrainian or know Ukrainians who paid a fee and they shouldn't have paid the fee, they need to reach out to us because we do want to add them to the lawsuit. So let us know.
For sure.
Let us know. And Greg should be reaching out to our plaintiffs on this issue as well. And the last thing I wanted to talk about, because I think we just feel compelled to talk about, Jesse, and that of course is Go DB 2021, Gomez Acker DB 2020. You have Go and Gomez right in front of you. I recall specifically, Jesse, after we got done with oral argument, talking about when we might see a decision. And we told people easy 6 months. And I know we went online on this show, on this broadcast, and said minimum 6 months, because that's what appeals take. Appeals do take that long on complicated cases, particularly with the panel that we had, which was one certain no, one certain yes, and one I don't know.
Yeah. One who was reluctant to say yes, but I think he felt like he had to. But that's my rosy picture of it. I mean, I think that it's become like this. Everyone is anxious. We get it. And we say the same thing over and over again, but I think it's also good to remind everyone, well, let's say they get the decision and it's positive. The process from there is a little unknown too. And I don't mean to pile on bad news, but I mean, we need to just, we want the decision that's going to be, but that's the first step towards perhaps the end of everything.
But yes, I think if they appealed this, what is the chance they don't go to SCOTUS with this?
Oh, they'll ask.
They're going to ask. They're going to seek cert. And that's another 6, 8, 10, 12 months.
Well, if they take it, right?
Well, no, but even if they don't, to get cert, to do the cert petition, and then get the responses in, and then wait. I mean, it will likely not be this term. It will likely not be till next term if they say no, or over the summer.
So, you'd hope that they just said no and they didn't ask it for a response, but I think that's probably way too optimistic.
I agree. And even if they don't appeal, then a case gets remanded back to the Judge Maida.
Yeah.
Or for implementation of the program. And they have specifically rejected requests from our co-counsel, Curtis in this case. Tell us what you would do if you lose.
Yeah.
They've specifically not answered that question.
The other thing that the government would do perhaps is think about seeking an en banc review like they just did in the Wash Tech case.
Yeah.
Where they want the whole DC circuit to do it if they don't think that they're going to, but they may just, because there's no split.
Right. There's no split. So
they would have to go up and say it's a significant legal issue or, but, I also think that what I hope is the panel is writing a decision that, if it's positive, I guess, but maybe it works the other way, but that is essentially going to preclude further review. Meaning they're going to do all their homework, they're going to do everything, and they're going to make it, in my view, how I would do it if I were a judge. I'd make it as narrow as possible so that the people actually win, but it doesn't really, not a game changer. You want to win small. You always want to kind of win small. I'll take a win big, but I'll take a win small too. But it's like I said before, everyone wants to go out there and talk about how it's really Biden's lawsuit now. And in fact, it in a way it is, but also in a way, as I said before, it's also about executive power.
It is. It's
and
about power.
He's never gonna,
no president's gonna say, I need less power.
Exactly. Can you repeal 212F for me? It may take a great leader to do something like that because he's seen or she's seen that it would have been abused before.
Yeah. But the reality is we don't have that many great leaders sitting in Washington, D.C. That's the tragic part of the
moment. Yeah.
All right. So we've answered kind of the stuff we normally see. And of course, Jess, we're always in the search for some injustice. We're in many ways, we're like Quixote. We're looking for that dragon to slay. Where is the next dragon for us to slay here? And, fortunately, the Immigration Service remains really a nightmare system. One area that I've been thinking about, Jesse, we haven't talked about this yet, is how long ICE takes to send bond money back to people.
Yeah.
So they're sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars in bonds for people that are not being deported. And, there's a process to do that, but it's very slow. I'm just kind of curious what else might be slowing up that process. Again, the government not want to yield power, not want to give money up. That's part of it. Anyway, there's lots of fun stuff out there. We got some comments and questions here, Jess. Alyssa's is here, which is good to see. Adam, where can we see the amendment?
I think we were going to redact it.
Oh, we're in the process. Aaron's firm is redacting it. The only change on the 601A amendment is additional names. There's no substantive change. It's just more names, which is you're just going to get the same thing you had before. It'll just be longer with more blanks.
I think we corrected a couple things. Someone had an employment.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, it should be substantively the same.
Okay. Hopefully, Mayella signed up for 601 last night. We're excited you did that. Mr. Goka, thanks for doing what you guys have. An agency charge outrageous fee they charge. Well, that is, and what's worse, Jesse, is the fees they want to raise to charge more.
Yeah.
Are really completely out of line. By the way, on that issue, we talked previously perhaps that the current fee suit would just be amended. I've been reading that probably won't be the case.
Is that what? Because Ayla was on that with the Sidley Austin, and I was a part of that. Are they saying they're not going to do that, or
no? What the judge came out and asked for briefing on the issue.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think the judge wants to stay on that case. I think.
Yeah,
I think he's going to rule. It's a separate rule. It's a separate lawsuit.
Yeah, it is. Separate issues. they've actually, and that case was not, no. So we struck the prior fee rule that I was a part of was stricken because the person who was trying to lead USCIS at the time didn't have the appropriate authority, Chad Wolf. Now it's a different. Now it's a rule. It's going to go through notice and comment. We're talking about a totally new.
I think it's better to sort of have a clean slate. It's
hollow. I mean, a lot of how they're doing it is different. I mean, the last rule, which made it so egregious, they wanted to upcharge, naturalization applications without a waiver for 85% higher. I mean, this one does have like what I think is egregious, fees for like, splitting up I-131s and 765s.
Oh yeah, completely outrageous.
I mean, that's just a money grab to me.
Yeah.
Especially when they've mostly screwed up doing those.
Well, here's the thing: is you wouldn't need an EAD and advanced parole if they did an adjustment in a month.
Yeah.
You wouldn't need it, right? So,
yeah.
but their incompetence forces you to pay them more money.
I think they should. I don't know who advises the agency, but I would love a more transparent system where they would be like, listen, we are going to investigate everything. We're going to give a giant pile of money to investigate all types of fraud, and because they're doing it anyway,
right?
And we have a secret police where we're going to employers and we're going to families, and if you've lied, we're going to catch you, and that's it. But they don't say that. They say, hey, we needed some.
Well, they have no legal authority to do it. They just don't.
That's one problem.
They just don't have legal authority to do this.
They do it.
I know, because nobody's challenged them.
Yeah.
You need somebody who's been investigated illegally to challenge that issue.
Well, we did challenge that in the last fee rule.
Right. But
and we had an amicus.
Didn't really go anywhere, right?
We had an amicus. Yeah, we didn't have to go on that claim. But I don't know. I think there will be a fee rule litigation.
Oh no, 100%.
But striking a rule that goes through notice and comment rulemaking, is very
it's a lot bigger lift when you had authority to issue the rule in the first place. Amendments already been sent. Already been sent. Guadalupe, some plaintiffs got assigned a new receipt number. Their case got transferred. That's weird. That's not normal. That's not normal. You should definitely talk to your legal counsel about why that happened. That doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
Generally, could the appeals court decisions take 1 year, 2 years? Well, I personally have had appeals and random cases take a year, 2 years. That's true. I don't think that happens here, though. I don't.
No, I think it really is about something that could have happened Friday. I mean, it's coming.
Yeah. I'm just praying every night for Judge Srinivasan. He's in my prayers every night. That his persuasiveness, his optimism, his idealism, and his opinion are spread like love throughout the Court of Appeals.
I hope.
Yeah. Guadalupe, we noticed the first transfer notice was going to transfer, a second notice, new service agreement. Yeah, that's what they would do. Because they have to track the case. It's like when you go to Walmart to check out, you got to scan that thing, right? So you got to scan it, and then you leave, and they check. I guess it's Sam's Club. They scan it when you check, and then you walk out the door. They check that you scanned it. That's what this is. It's just it's like a double entry bookkeeping system. So they can do where it is. Can you please let people know there is a Facebook group for the I-601 plaintiffs. And I'm on that group. I don't know if Jesse's probably not dumped on himself on that group yet, but I love Facebook. No. I get all my news from Facebook. So, I can't wait till Trump runs again.
I tried Facebook, and then I put that I opened my own firm on Facebook and started to engage, and I just got the most hate mail for it was random though. And so I was like, I'm just not having it.
You clearly don't know how to target your audience.
I don't. No, I'm totally inexperienced. I honestly,
members of Numbers USA probably wasn't a good idea.
I walked out I was just in beach shorts and gonna have a good time, and it turned into a fist fight, and I was like, I'm out of here.
Well, you are from Boston though, so
no, yeah, but I'd prefer not to have to fight my way to tell the truth.
Plaintiff in a 6-1-day litigation, my notice that the preliminary was transfer. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. Preliminary review just means that you submitted all the documents that in their internal checklist. And yes, I have one of these internal checklists. I should probably dig it up and find it. that I got in a FOIA. Every now and then you do a FOIA request.
Oh, yeah.
And they let go one of their privileged documents, And so, oh, here's their checklist, what they're looking for. That means a clerk looked at it, checked the boxes, and sent it to an examiner. I mean, I would expect 30 days from something like that personally. When does the court have the rule? The ruling is months away.
Yeah, I mean, the question has to be like, rule on what? Because she's
so
not going to rule on the whole case.
She's going to rule on the class certification probably in the next
5 months, 4 months.
Oh no, I think 60 to 70 days. I mean, the most 2 months.
You think she'll
It's
rule on it?
It's going to be fully briefed by March 16th, March 18th, something like that. It's fully briefed.
I bet you the government's going to try to come in and say, don't rule on it until
well, they might, but we're gonna say no, it needs to be ruled on, Judge. And
yeah, I think what they're gonna want to tie it to a motion to dismiss that they're gonna file. So everybody should understand that that's the government's going to say move to dismiss. Yeah. Doesn't mean that they're gonna win, but that's what they'll do.
Luz Divina, I talked to her yesterday. She's really wonderful. She created the Facebook group, and Jess, for those of you who speak Spanish, of course, her name means divine light. What a great name, divine light.
I like it.
It's totally awesome. Fayaz is talking about jus generic. And yes, I know you're an expert in Latin.
I think I took it for 3 years in high school, and I don't remember any of it.
Well, jus means blood. I know that. And I know jus solis means citizenship by land, or by blood. I forget what it is. Anyway.
Could it be that he's saying it's just generic?
Maybe it was just generic. I thought that was Latin. Wait a second. Are you saying he's just a terrible speller?
It would be something that I would write. So yeah, I would say.
Maybe Fayaz can clarify. Where can you do plays added to it? You're going to get that notice. We're going to send that out.
Well, they're not going to be able to. They shouldn't be able to. I don't know if they'll be able to see them though.
You won't see who they are, but you will get the notice. If you will get the if you're an additional plaintiff, you will get the complaint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, original. It'll come. It got filed Friday, and Aaron's been slammed. He will get this. It is a gigantic hassle to redact hundreds of names.
Well, the other thing too is sometimes the court doesn't release it, so you have to kind of wait. So yeah. Everything was closed yesterday.
Yeah, and Monday was a holiday, so I forgot about Monday was a federal holiday. Anytime there's someone that's a family member in a 601A waiver, it's too late to join. But it's a class action, so hopefully we'll fight for you.
And the other thing too is people could they theoretically could opt out and file their own lawsuits. But
Adam, if you paid, you were added. I can guarantee you that, and that notice should be going out hopefully by tomorrow. I'm not going to bind Aaron to mine, but the thing is, he doesn't just redact the new part; he has to redact the whole thing.
Yeah.
So just takes a while. Name of the Facebook group is, I believe, 601A litigation. I think if you Google, I'm just going to go in Facebook.
You're in the group, like they let you in?
Yeah, they let me in. It's actually called the IMMPact, IMMPact litigation lawsuit 601A, I601A. You can Google it. IMMPact litigation lawsuit I601A, and there it is. I meant just. Oh, he wasn't speaking Latin.
See, it's just generic. So.
All right, Jess. Been a good week. We miss our friends Greg and Aaron. We'll be back next Tuesday live. Jess, are you doing any lives? You got something with Bridget?
I have. God, what am I doing? I don't even know what the name of it is. But no, I don't. Nothing that I'm around. I'm in the verse. I'm in. In
a couple of weeks, Jesse and I are speaking on a panel in Chicago on mass litigation. We're kind of excited about that. We have two wonderful co-panelists speaking with us, and it'll be good to be in the Windy City in March because I'm sure it'll be windy.
I have no doubt in my mind that there's going to be 30 inches of snow.
Well, that would
because
be
we haven't.
Weekend. That would be this weekend.
Yeah, we haven't had it in New England yet, and I'm just waiting. My children are on vacation. For those of you who care,
spring break this week.
Yeah, well, it's like
winter break, winter break.
But we're just waiting for it to be ultimately done. But we are looking forward to that. I am going to be doing more public like YouTube stuff, but just not yet. I'm dipping a toe in. You know, I'm starting to
Jesse
get.
spent a long time working for the government. It's hard to overcome that, you know, the public fright of speaking publicly.
Yeah. It's not that I'm shy. It's just that, you know, you got to be careful out there. There is so much misinformation.
Ooh. Oh, have you been on TikTok?
No.
TikTok is the bastion of misinformation.
My children. Last story for the audience.
Don't let your kids on TikTok.
I have 2 12-year-old boys, and mom and I have given them phones, and they're not children anymore. And so I'm learning like Snapchat and all these groups and TikTok, and now I have to become a member because mom, heaven forbid those boys do something, dad is in trouble, right? That's the way it works.
It's your kid.
So now the TikToks, the Snapchats, I'm starting to learn. There's a lot out there.
Yeah. Don't let your kid have a TikTok account. Really.
No, I don't know if they do.
You do have parental controls on their phone, right? I mean,
that plus mom reading everything that is said, and when they're not around, breaking into their phones and reading who's texting them.
Well,
other than that,
we actually made our kids leave the phones in the kitchen every night.
Yeah, they definitely do not have their phones. I think mom has them more than they do, but you know, it's a different world. And I think what I've tried to tell them, it's almost like what I'm trying to tell clients sometimes, is like, don't believe everything you read. So if everyone tells you, hey, you know, I had a client come to me in a consular denial. Said, hey, we can fight, you know, someone quoted me X to go take this to federal court. And I said, you know, you might as well throw that X in some pond, because you're not going to have.
Light it on fire, baby.
And then they want to fight you about it. And so they want to tell me that how wrong I am. And I'm trying to tell them, that's great.
You're
I'm
trying
just
to
not going
save
to take your money.
And they're telling you, no, I want to burn my money.
I'm just not going to take your money.
Yeah.
How about that?
I'm not going to help you burn your money.
Go hire them. Yeah.
Just had a last question here. For those of you second order money, can you expect updates from CIS? Not necessarily. These updates surprised us. Honestly, they was surprised they moved as quickly as they did. I would suspect they've been served. So I would suspect because they were off yesterday. So the first day back at work, there is some minion somewhere going through the computer system, finding every one of those cases and preparing his internal Excel spreadsheet. Where is this case?
I'm going to make a prediction, which is something I normally do, but I bet you by that March 6th date or whatever, there'll be decisions made in a number of cases.
I would think that they want to go to court and say, Judge, we've approved 50 of these cases already.
We're doing awesome. What are they complaining about?
Look at we're amazing, Judge. Really.
What are they complaining about?
Everybody adjudicate.
We were just about to do it.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a wild coincidence. Wild. I mean,
totally nuts.
Judge. They sued us right when we were about to start working on these cases.
All of them.
All of them. Just
Yeah.
these ones, by the way. Yes.
We were going to transfer all of them around, and then we were just about to approve.
And we looked, and they matched up.
And we do them in order.
Yeah.
Just
stunning, Judge. It's an act of God.
They are awful people. How dare they?
Yeah, just awful. Hey, our good friend Zaira Hatya, I know you've been on his show.
I have.
And he's just totally awesome. We appreciate the great work he does on DVs. Him and Britt Simon do a great work on DV visas, which are important in the communities that they reach out to. And God bless all those. Hopefully, I pray the Department of State uses every one of those visas again this year. In fact, I pray they use more. Again. All right. Jess, have a wonderful day, my friend.
Be good.
Bye-bye.